Welcome. Step into the silence that roars louder than applause, into the shadows that don't just follow, but consume. This is not your ordinary speech. This is a confrontation. This is not for the faint-hearted, not for the sugar-coated optimism you've been fed. Number. This is for the ones who carry the weight of consequences without blinking. This is for the ones who realize that to move forward, something or someone has to be left behind, buried not in the past but in silence. You didn't ruin their name, you erased their identity, and that, whether they understand it or not, was necessary. There's a line few ever dare to cross, a line where silence becomes justice, where withdrawal becomes weapon, and your absence is louder than your voice ever was. That's where you stood, and when they called it betrayal, when they said you were wrong, when they painted you as the villain in their collapsing narrative, they didn't understand, because this wasn't about noise. This was about deletion, not of a name, not of a title, of who they were to you. And in that, you took back your control. You didn't break the frame. You burned the portrait. You see, there's a difference between revenge and erasure. Revenge is loud, desperate, attention-hungry. Erasure is clean, sharp, final. Revenge wants to hurt. Erasure wants to forget. And when you made that choice, when you chose to disappear, to no longer speak their name, to treat them like a ghost in your world, you weren't being cruel. You were choosing power. You were building your future on ashes they thought would never burn. You were writing a new chapter without the ink of their lies staining the page. They told you that silence is weakness. They were wrong. Silence is the strategy of gods. It's the language of those who no longer need to explain themselves. And when you walked away, no explanation, no apology, no final argument. That was the loudest statement you could have made. You didn't just kill the connection. You murdered their reputation in your world. They didn't lose a friend. They lost their reflection. And now they're screaming into the void, trying to remember who they were before you. But it's gone. It's wiped. Because you were the only mirror that made them believe they were whole. Let's speak truth, real, raw, unapologetic. Some people survive only because you carry their name. Some reputations live only because you choose to forgive. Some identities remain intact only because you still whisper their stories. But when that whisper stops, when you turn, and silence is all that remains, they fade. Not publicly, not in headlines, but in identity. And that is the quietest destruction known to man. You didn't scream, you didn't rage, you just stopped. And in that stillness, you became dangerous. Because the most powerful thing you can do to someone who once depended on your light is to walk away with it still burning, leave them in the dark, not as punishment, but as proof. They were never the flame, you were. They'll say you changed, that you became cold, distant, heartless. But they don't realize. They never saw the slow death of your spirit while you were still smiling for their comfort. They missed every moment you swallowed your truth to protect their image. They were blind to the quiet sacrifices you made just to keep their name from collapsing under its own weight. You weren't cruel, you were crumbling. And when the final piece of you gave out, it wasn't rage that came next. It was nothingness, the void, a silence deeper than any scream. And in that silence, you erase them. Because sometimes, walking away isn't abandonment, it's resurrection. Not of them, of you. You killed the role they had written for you, the obedient shadow, the unthanked savior, the quiet protector of their legacy. You burned the script, and in that act, you didn't just ruin their name. You obliterated the illusion that they ever had power over your identity in the first place. Now they sit in circles of familiarity, repeating stories about who they think you were, trying to stitch together your absence with lies. But the truth eats at them in private. The truth gnaws at their memory. Because you didn't leave a wound, they don't even know where to place the scar. You vanished, not in weakness, but in ultimate clarity. You understood. Some people don't deserve a confrontation. They don't deserve your fury. They deserve to be forgotten. Erased, not from the world, but from your world. And once that choice is made, there is no coming back. This isn't about hate. Hate still gives them space in your mind. Hate still calls their name in the shadows. This is about nothing. The purest, darkest form of accountability. Because nothing is louder than no longer existing in someone's universe. Nothing is colder than being unwritten from a person's story. That is what you did, and they feel it, even if they can't name it. You didn't just close the chapter, you burned the entire book and built a new library in which their name was never printed. So let them talk. Let them say what they will. Because when the lights go down and the noise fades, they'll realize they're not being hated. They're being ignored. And that kind of silence, that's not distance. That's exile. A kind of exile they earned, not by what they did once, but by what they kept doing, believing you'd never leave, believing you'd never stop carrying their weight. But you did. You dropped it. And they're still trying to figure out how heavy they truly were. Let's be honest. They thought their name could survive anything, that their charm, their persona, their carefully curated identity was immune to consequence. But they underestimated one thing: you. They never imagined you'd be the one to bury their influence. Not with violence, not with a spectacle, but with something far more terrifying: your indifference. And now they live in a world where the only version of them that mattered has been deleted from you entirely. There is a terrifying kind of justice in that, a quiet execution. No jury, no verdict, just decision. And you made it, not out of bitterness, out of evolution. You realized their presence was no longer sustainable in the environment of your growth. You understood that their name, their voice, their story no longer had a seat at your table. And instead of waiting for them to catch up, you built a higher floor and removed the staircase. They might still be shouting from the ground, but you don't even hear them anymore. Not because you're avoiding them, but because they're simply not there. Not in your plans, not in your vision, not in your identity. You rewrote your soul's architecture, and their name wasn't in the blueprint. And that's what they'll never understand. You didn't ruin their reputation with slander. You didn't spread lies. You didn't weaponize secrets. You just stopped acknowledging their existence. And in doing so, you stole the only thing they truly valued: their identity as it existed in your eyes. Because the truth is, some people don't want to be good. They just want to be seen as good. They feed off perception. They thrive in borrowed light. And when you took your light back, they weren't exposed. They were extinguished. You didn't ruin their name. You revealed it for what it always was: hollow, borrowed, inflated by your forgiveness, your sense, your protection. But not anymore. So now they wander through their own story, trying to find themselves in it without you. But you were the one who made it all make sense. You were the interpreter of their chaos, the silent editor who cleaned up their mess, the one who kept their identity intact when it began to unravel. They mistook your grace for obligation. They mistook your loyalty for weakness, and they paid the price. Not with drama, not with explosion, but with a slow, suffocating erasure that even they can't reverse. Because you weren't just someone who knew them, you were the only one who truly saw them. And now, no one does. Their audience has changed. Their mirror is gone. And what's left is a shell, walking through rooms, trying to prove they still exist in stories that no longer fit. You didn't ruin their name. You removed the lens that made them worth looking at. And without you, they're just noise in the distance, familiar but unimportant. Here's the part they'll never say out loud. They need someone to blame. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right. Right to walk away, right to stop pouring water into a broken cup, right to say this ends with me. They don't miss you because they loved you. They miss you because your presence was their permission slip to pretend they were better, wiser, kinder. You were the credibility they wore like armor. And when you walked away, you didn't just take your presence, you took their protection. And still, through all their projections, all their silent accusations, all the rehearsed stories they tell the world, you stay silent. Why? Because you don't need to defend what's already buried. You don't need to shout about what no longer lives. And that's the most terrifying part of all. They keep throwing words like weapons, but they're swinging at shadows. You're not even in the arena anymore. You're above it. You've outgrown the conflict. You didn't win the war. You made it irrelevant. And in that transformation, you did something more powerful than revenge. You denied them immortality. Their name will fade in your story. Their face will blur. Their voice will lose shape. Because when you rewrite your life, the characters who no longer serve the plot aren't killed. They're forgotten. And that's the greatest deletion of all. People think erasure is cruelty, but erasure is clarity. Erasure is the honest answer to a dishonest presence. You didn't do it to hurt them. You did it to heal you. Because you finally saw what they were. Not evil, but empty. Not malicious, but manipulative. Not strong, but dependent on your strength to feel powerful. And when you left, they didn't just lose you. They lost the version of themselves they only saw in your eyes. You were the architect of their illusion, and now that illusion is dust. They called you dramatic, cold, too much. But what they couldn't admit was how much they relied on your warmth, your protection, your forgiveness. You were their safety net, and they cut holes in it thinking it would still catch them. But you're gone, and now they're falling. Not because you pushed them, but because they were never standing on solid ground to begin with. You didn't ruin them. You just stepped back and let the truth reveal itself. And now you rise. Not because you're untouched, but because you chose healing over performance. Because you chose evolution over explanation. Because you realize that your energy is sacred, and some names don't deserve to be carried in your voice anymore. You didn't ruin their name. You simply stopped giving it value. Look around. There's a quiet kind of power in the way your life now breathes without them. In the peace that replaced the chaos. In the space that used to be filled with their needs, their demands, their drama. Now filled with your purpose, your growth, your clarity. That's the beauty of erasure. It doesn't just remove them. It returns you to yourself. They may still speak. They may still reach. They may still pretend. But you know better now. You don't need to respond. You don't need to react. You've reached a level of freedom that doesn't include an audience. Your path no longer passes through their terrain, and that, in its own quiet way, is your loudest victory. You were never meant to carry someone else's identity on your back. You were never supposed to be the background to their performance. You are the story. You are the page. You are the ink. And when you chose to erase them, it wasn't an act of cruelty. It was an act of creation. You made room for your real self. You reclaimed the narrative. So now, you look in the mirror and something is different. Not just the absence of their influence, not just the stillness where their noise used to echo, but something far more important. You see yourself clearly, fully, maybe for the first time in years. And that's when you realize they were never the main villain. They were the distraction, the noise, the fog that blurred your reflection just enough for you to doubt your own form. They didn't break you, they clouded you. And now the fog is gone. You've remembered who you were before they redefined you, before you started shrinking yourself to make them feel taller, before you started bending your voice so they could sleep peacefully in their lies. You didn't ruin their name. You saved your own. You recovered the version of you that didn't apologize for being powerful, for being bright, for being real. Let the world believe what it wants. They'll say, "You changed." That's fine. Let them whisper. Let them tilt their heads in concern and wonder where your softness went. But what they'll never understand is that this new version of you isn't heartless. It's healed. It doesn't cry for apologies. It doesn't crave closure. It doesn't seek recognition. It simply moves forward, quietly, unstoppably. Because once you've learned how to walk without them, you begin to run. And in that run, you shed every version of yourself that needed their approval, every piece of you that begged for their validation, every echo that still carried their name. You stopped needing to be understood. You stopped needing to be liked. And in that brutal, beautiful shift, you became dangerous in the way that peace often is, calm, certain, untouchable. This is where the world gets uncomfortable. When someone erases what was toxic, not with fire, but with indifference, not with a fight, but with full silence. They don't know how to handle that. Because drama is easy to judge. Explosions are easy to point at. But when you choose nothing, when you walk away, delete the thread, close the chapter and never look back, you become unreadable, unpredictable, unshakable. And that's what you are now. Unshaken. There is no return, no reopening of that door, no second invitation. They burned the bridge thinking you'd build it again. But this time, you didn't bring wood. You brought wings. And once you learn how to fly above the chaos, why would you ever crawl back into the fire? They'll never admit this, but they feel it. Every time your name is mentioned in a room, and they have to pretend it doesn't sting. Every time someone asks where you went, and they scramble to tell a version that paints them innocent. Every time they see you thriving without a trace of their influence, and it silences the lies they told themselves to sleep at night. That's the real punishment. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was. You didn't ruin their name. You simply stopped protecting it. You let it fall under the weight of its own lies. And now, whatever remains of their image is scattered and fragile, searching for a new host to survive in. But not you. Not anymore. You're done hosting parasites. Let them rebuild. Let them try. But this time, they'll have to do it without you. And without the illusion of who they were in your life, there's nothing for them to lean on. No more borrowed identity, No more reflected glory, just silence, just space, just truth. And what about you? You're not just surviving, you're transforming. This pain didn't destroy you, it cleared the way. And now there's room for something real, room for friendships that don't demand your silence, room for relationships that don't require your sacrifice, room for a self that doesn't need to justify its brilliance to anyone. Because when you erased their identity from your life, you made space for your own. And this identity, the one forged in silence, risen from deletion, born from reclamation, it's not fragile. It doesn't waver. It doesn't bend for comfort. It stands, alone if necessary, proud always. You are no longer the version of yourself who needed to be needed. You don't barter your worth for love. You don't tolerate disrespect disguised as closeness. And most importantly, you don't carry names that don't deserve to be remembered. That is the power you hold now, and this is where you stay. Not in bitterness, not in vengeance, but in balance, in sovereignty, in truth. You aren't loud about your growth because it doesn't need to be announced. It's seen, it's felt. And to the ones who once mistook your silence for weakness, they now understand. Your silence was the beginning of their end. They say a person dies 2 deaths. Once when their body is buried, and once when their name is spoken for the last time. You gave them both. And you did it without lifting a single weapon. Just a boundary, just a decision, just a step away. That's not weakness, that's legacy. And now, here you stand, not broken, not angry, not even grieving. You are still, unbothered, whole. Not because the war didn't leave wounds, but because you stopped giving the pain permission to speak. You stopped romanticizing what tried to consume you. And most of all, you stopped carrying the identity of someone who ever needed them to see your worth. You erased their identity not out of hate, but out of truth, out of necessity, out of the brutal realization that some people are only alive in the echo of your voice, in the light of your presence, in the kindness you extended that they mistook as weakness. You didn't just stop talking about them, you unmade them. You refused to be the soil where their false image could grow, and without you, they had nowhere left to stand. Understand this, what you did, it takes power, it takes precision. Most will never get it, most won't even try, because it's easier to shout, it's easier to perform your rage for an audience, to act like the wounded, noble victim. But you didn't choose the spotlight. You chose the shadow that became a furnace, that burned everything false and left only what was real. And what's real now is you. Not the version of you they tolerated, not the version you molded to make them feel safe, not the watered down version they applauded because it didn't threaten their comfort. Number, this you, the final version, is built from silence, carved by clarity, and untouchable by anything that once needed your permission to survive. There's no going back. Not because you're hard, but because you're healed. And healing, real healing, doesn't make space for people who only loved your brokenness. You erase them because the truth is, they weren't just part of your pain, they were its architect. And you can forgive the storm, but you don't keep living in the wreckage. Now they're looking for closure. They're digging through old messages, waiting for old patterns, hoping your silence is a phase, but what they don't realize is that silence was your answer, the final one. You didn't leave a door open. You sealed it, locked it, and burned the building, all without saying a single word. Because the most powerful endings don't need announcements. They don't need dramatic exits. They're just done, quiet, final, unarguable. That's what you gave them. And it terrified them more than anything you could have said. Here's the truth. Most will never say out loud, you became the consequence. Not with fury, not with vengeance, just with removal, just with evolution. And that is the most terrifying justice of all, to become so healed, so whole, so unreachable, that they have no idea how to find the version of you they once fed on. You've become untouchable, not because you're guarded, but because you're rooted, no longer chasing, no longer explaining, no longer hoping they'll finally see it. They had their chance. Welcome back, Alpha audience. You've come to a point in your life where the world and everything around you is shifting, and you are standing tall amidst the chaos. You have taken control, and now the world watches in silence. They can see it, they can feel it, but they don't know how to react. You've done something unimaginable. You've stolen something from them, and now they are panicking. They're scrambling. They're lost because you've taken away their power. And in that moment of powerlessness, something stirs inside them, something dark and terrifying. You've forced them to look into the abyss of their own insecurity, and now they can't look away. You've unleashed a force that rattles them to their core, and this power, this grip you've placed upon them, is something they'll never be able to shake free from. Once you've taken it, you've changed the game forever, and they know it deep down. They know it in their bones. They can never be the same because of you. You've taken away their power, and they are losing their minds over it. They thought they had it all figured out. They thought they were the ones in control. They had the world bending to their will, the people around them obeying their every word. But you didn't bow to them. You didn't fall in line. Instead, you stood up. You fought back. You showed them the truth. And now they're panicking. They didn't expect this. They didn't expect someone to rise up against them and challenge their throne. No one has dared to touch their power until you came along. And they're scrambling now, looking for ways to reclaim what they've lost. But they can't, because you've already taken it. And with every passing second that slips away, their hold weakens. Do you feel it? The rush of power surging through your veins. The knowledge that you've disrupted their carefully constructed facade. It's intoxicating, isn't it? You've watched them squirm as they try to regain their control, but they can't. You see it in their eyes, the fear, the uncertainty, the panic. They're not used to this. They're not used to being powerless. They've built their entire lives on dominance, and now you've pulled the rug from under them, and they're falling, and they have no idea how to stop their descent. They've spent so long living in their little world where they control the narrative, and now they're watching it slip away in front of their eyes, and they don't know how to handle it because they've never had to. They've never been forced to confront their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. They've spent so long pretending to be invincible, and now that illusion has been shattered by you. You've torn down their walls and exposed the truth about who they really are, and they can't accept it. They can't bear the thought of being seen for what they truly are, because in that moment when their power slips away, they are nothing. They're just like everyone else. They're just fragile human beings, full of flaws and imperfections, and they hate it. They can't stand the thought of being exposed for the frauds they are. But they don't have a choice because you've already stripped away their power, and nothing will ever be the same. You see, power is a fragile thing. It can be built up over time, but it can also be torn down in an instant. One misstep, one act of defiance, one person brave enough to challenge it, and the whole empire crumbles. They didn't realize how easily they could lose it. They didn't understand how quickly it could all slip through their fingers, but you've shown them that truth. And now they can't undo what you've done. They can't take back what they've lost. They can't return to the way things were, because you've changed everything, and that change is irreversible. And while they're flailing, trying to regain their footing, you're standing tall. You're watching them with cold indifference because you know the truth. You know that power is only as strong as the person holding it. And when you're the one in control, when you're the one calling the shots, everything shifts. The world bends to your will. Not theirs. It's your turn to shape the world. It's your time to take what you deserve. And they can't stop you because they don't have the power to do so anymore. You took it from them, and now they are nothing more than hollow shells of the figures they once were. They try to distract themselves with noise. They try to fill the empty spaces with distractions and false bravado, but it doesn't work. They know deep down that they've lost, and the panic is eating away at them. It's driving them insane. They can't focus. They can't think clearly. They're constantly on edge, waiting for something to change, waiting for a way to reclaim what's theirs. But it's gone. It's already gone, and they can't find it again. They can't fix what you've broken, and they're terrified because they know they'll never get back to where they were. And what's worse is that now they're looking at you. They're looking at you with hatred and fear in their eyes because you're the one who did this to them. You're the one who took away their power, and they can't stand it. They can't accept it because it means they're not as untouchable as they once believed. It means they're vulnerable. It means they're human. And that thought terrifies them more than anything else they've ever faced. They're panicking because they know the world is changing and they don't know how to deal with it. But you do, you know exactly how to deal with it because you've already won. You've already claimed victory, and now you're just watching as they flail around in their desperation, trying to regain something they can't have because they can't go back to where they were, and you've already moved on. You've already moved past them while they're stuck in the past, fighting to hold on to something that's slipping further and further away from them with every passing moment. So let them panic, let them scramble, let them try to reclaim their control. It doesn't matter anymore because you've already taken away their power, and there's nothing they can do to stop you. Nothing they can say to bring it back, and nothing they can do to erase the truth that you've exposed to them. Their power was never as strong as they believed. It was never as unshakable as they pretended. And now they're paying the price for their arrogance because you've taken it away. And now they're panicking. And they'll keep panicking until they realize that the game has changed and they'll never be able to play it the same way again. And you know this to be true, don't you? You know that they'll keep trying to claw their way back to power, but it will never be the same. They will never be the same because you've stolen something from them that they can never get back. And they'll have to live with that every single day for the rest of their lives. Because once you take someone's power from them, they can never fully regain it. They can never feel the same again. They can never be the person they once were. And that's the beauty of it, because you've made them see that they are not invincible. They are not above everyone else. They are not in control anymore. And that realization is eating them alive. You've broken them down to their core. You've forced them to confront their deepest fears, their greatest insecurities. And now they're spiraling out of control. And they don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to fix the damage you've done because you've taken away their power. And now they are nothing more than a shell of what they once were. And no matter how much they try to fight it, no matter how much they try to reclaim their former glory, they can't. Because the moment you took their power from them, you changed the game forever. and they will never be the same again. So let them panic, let them crumble, let them break under the pressure. Because it's your time now. It's your turn to take what you deserve, and nothing can stand in your way. Nothing can stop you, because you've taken away their power, and now they are powerless, and you are the one in control. And that is a position that no one can take away from you. No one can ever challenge you again, because you've done the unthinkable. You've taken away their power, and now they are nothing but shadows of their former selves, while you stand tall and unshaken, knowing that the power is yours, and it always will be. They thought they had everything locked down, didn't they? Their world was one of control, of dominance, of careful manipulation. Every move was calculated, every word they spoke, designed to keep their grip on the world intact. They built their empires on the backs of others, using the tools of fear and power to carve out a place where they could sit above it all, untouched and unchallenged. But what they didn't account for, what they couldn't see, was you. They never saw you coming, did they? They thought they were invincible, that nothing could shake them from their throne. But you shattered their illusion with nothing more than a single act of defiance. The moment you took their power, you didn't just break their control over the world. You shattered their very identity. They built themselves on that power, and without it, they're nothing. They're just like everyone else. They're human, fragile, vulnerable. And that truth scares them more than anything else. They've spent so long constructing this image of themselves as untouchable, beyond reach. They've convinced themselves that the rules didn't apply to them, but you've taken that away, piece by piece, and now they're left scrambling in the darkness of their own insecurity. They don't know how to react because deep down they're terrified of who they are without their power. You've exposed them. In the beginning, they thought they could simply muscle their way back into control. They thought they could use their old tricks, the threats, the manipulation, the subtle coercion, to reclaim what was theirs. But it's too late. The power is gone, and no amount of manipulation or aggression will bring it back. They are broken, hollowed out, scrambling for something that's already slipped through their fingers, and they don't even know how to rebuild. They don't know how to put the pieces back together, because for the first time in their lives, they're not the ones holding the strings. They're drowning in the realization that they've lost everything that defined them. The realization that the very thing they relied on, the very thing they thought was theirs by right, is gone. And it's not just gone. It's been taken by someone who isn't afraid, someone who stands in the face of all their power and refuses to be intimidated. You didn't bend. You didn't flinch. You stood strong. And now they're left with nothing. They're panicking because they know they'll never be able to reclaim what they've lost. They'll never be the same again. But you've seen something in them, haven't you? You've seen the cracks in their armor. You've seen the way they've constructed their world on lies and deceit. And now that world is crumbling under the weight of your truth. You've stripped away the illusion, and now they are exposed. They are nothing more than the sum of their weaknesses, and they can't hide from that fact anymore. The power they once held over others was never truly theirs. It was borrowed, fleeting, and now it's gone. And what's left in the wake of their fall? The fear, the desperation, the panic. They've lost their footing in a world they once controlled, and they can't stand it. They can't comprehend a life without the power that once defined their every move. They can't handle the chaos of a world where they aren't the ones pulling the strings. They don't know what to do with themselves, because for the first time, they're facing a truth they can't deny. They're vulnerable. They're human. and that terrifies them. But you're not afraid. You've walked through the fire, and now you're standing on the other side. You've taken what was theirs and turned it into something greater. You didn't just take their power, you transformed it. You didn't just steal what they had, you reshaped it into something new, something stronger, something more enduring. You are no longer playing by their rules. You've rewritten the game, and now they're stuck trying to catch up, watching as you rise higher and higher while they flounder below. You've taken their power, yes, but you've also taken something else, their peace of mind. Every move they make is now colored by fear. Every word they speak is laced with doubt, and that is something they can never get back. That power, the power of certainty, of control, is gone, and in its place is the cold, gnawing fear of losing everything they've worked so hard to build. They can't escape it. It's with them at every turn. It's in their thoughts, in their actions, in the way they look over their shoulder, waiting for the next strike. They're never safe. They're never secure. Because they know deep down that it could all crumble again in an instant. And this time, they won't be able to stop it. You've given them a taste of their own medicine. You've shown them what it feels like to be on the receiving end of the same fear, the same powerlessness they once inflicted on others. And they can't handle it. They can't bear it. Because for all their posturing, for all their bravado, they're just like everyone else. They're fragile. They're vulnerable. And now, they've been exposed. And there's nothing they can do to put it back together. Nothing they can do to fix it. But you've already moved on. You've already claimed what was rightfully yours, and now you're unstoppable. The game is yours to play. The world is yours to shape. They are nothing more than a distant memory now. You've claimed victory, and nothing can take that from you. They can try to claw their way back. They can try to pretend they're still in control. But they know, deep down, that the world has shifted. They'll never be the same, and neither will you. But that's what power does, doesn't it? It corrupts. It warps everything it touches. And for all their talk of dominance, of superiority, they've never realized the true cost of their control. They've never seen the price of holding on to power for so long, until someone comes along to show them what it feels like to lose it. They never thought it would happen. They never thought someone would take it from them. But you did. And now, they're trapped in their own panic, in their own fear, with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. They'll fight it, of course. They'll lash out, trying to regain what they lost. They'll try to take back control, to force their way back into the game. But they can't. Not anymore. Because once you've taken someone's power, once you've stripped them of everything that defined them, they are nothing. They are no longer the threat they once were. They're just broken, desperate, and hopeless. And that's something they'll never recover from. So let them panic, let them squirm, let them waste their energy on a battle they'll never win. Because you know the truth. You know that you've already won. The power is yours, and nothing will ever change that. They'll never be able to take it back. They'll never be able to reclaim what they lost. They can try to play the game again, but the rules have changed. And now, they're the ones left behind, struggling to keep up, while you rise above them. You took their power, and now they're the ones left in the dark. And that, my friends, is the true victory. The true victory is not just in taking their power, but in the understanding of what you've done. Because when you take away someone's power, you aren't simply disrupting their position or authority, you're exposing a deep vulnerability within them that they were never prepared to face. You've not only shattered their image of invincibility, you've exposed their deepest, most fragile insecurities. They thought they were untouchable, above everyone else, and yet, you, with one decisive act, stripped that veil from them, leaving them naked, vulnerable, scrambling to regain what they can never recover. And here lies the crux of true power. You are no longer in the realm of weakness or submission. You're in a place of absolute dominance, of control over your own fate, and it's a place where they cannot follow. They'll never reach you. You've ascended. You've climbed higher than they ever thought was possible, not because of brute force or dominance, but because you did something they couldn't foresee. You took away their confidence. You took away their certainty, and that was the foundation of their power. Without it, they are lost. They are disoriented. They are no longer the figures of authority they once were. They are ghosts of their former selves. And what does this leave them with? Fear. They can try to put on the mask again. They can try to act like they still have the upper hand, but the fear is always there, lurking behind their words and actions. It's the kind of fear that destroys from within, eroding the very core of their being. They can't escape it. Every time they look in the mirror, they see the cracks, the weakness they thought they could hide. And no matter how many times they try to cover them, it's still there. The panic, the realization that the world is no longer under their control. It's slipping away, and no matter how hard they try to clutch onto it, it will never be the same again. Now, consider the weight of that shift. The power that once shaped their world is no longer theirs to command. The positions they once held, the authority they exerted, it's all slipping into the void, leaving them with nothing but empty gestures and hollow words. And you are the reason for that emptiness. You've exposed them for what they truly are: fragile, scared, and ultimately powerless. And when you look at them now, when you watch them flounder in their attempts to regain something they'll never get back, it's clear. They are broken. They can't rebuild what you've taken from them. It's gone. But you've also won in a deeper way. This victory isn't simply about power over another person or group. It's about understanding your own power. It's about recognizing that you can take on the world, shake the foundations of what was once believed to be unshakable, and still stand tall when the dust settles. They thought they were the ones who dictated the pace of life, who determined who rose and who fell. They thought they could make others bend to their will. But you've shown them that it is not about force or domination. It's about who can withstand the storm, who can face the darkest moments and rise above them. And now, as you look down at the ruins they once built, you realize that this is the moment of reckoning. They believed they could hold on to power forever, but you've shown them that nothing lasts unless it is earned. And you didn't earn it through manipulation. You earned it through your own resilience, your own will to never back down. It's that will that took their power from them, and it's that same will that will propel you forward into new realms of possibility. They can never understand that. They can never understand the quiet strength it took to stand up and refuse to be controlled. They thought they could intimidate you, break you, force you to submit. But you rose from that, and in doing so, you made them realize they had no power over you. They will try to rebuild. They will rally their resources, their allies, trying to find new ways to assert their dominance. They will look for weaknesses in you, places where they can strike and undermine your strength. But it won't work, because you're no longer the person who used to fear their power. You've changed, you've grown, you've adapted to a world where you are the one in control. And that shift, that transformation, is something they can never match. They will never have the capacity to overcome the changes you've made in yourself. They will remain trapped in the cycle of panic and desperation, while you walk forward with certainty, knowing you are the one who holds the keys to your own future. This is the cost of true power. It's not the wealth or the position you gain. It's the realization that everything can be torn away in an instant. And what you've done, what you've achieved, is far beyond anything they can ever reach. You've learned the most important lesson of all. Power is not something that can be taken from others. It's something that must be claimed from within. And you've done that. You've claimed your power, your peace, your place in the world. And no one can take that from you. Look at them now, those who once sat atop their thrones, secure in the knowledge that they were the ones who controlled everything. They thought their empire was unshakable, but in truth, it was built on a foundation of fear, deception, and fragile pride. They put their faith in things that could crumble at the slightest touch. And you've delivered that touch. You've stripped them of everything they thought they could rely on, and they're terrified, they're scrambling, they're panicking. And in their panic, they reveal who they truly are. They are not powerful, they are fragile. They are just as human as everyone else, and they are just as susceptible to defeat as anyone who dares to dream of control. What they never understood, what they couldn't see, was that you were never truly after their power. You didn't want what they had. You wanted the freedom to take it for yourself. You wanted to break free from the chains of their oppression, their manipulation. And now that you have, you stand in a place they could never have imagined. You are the master of your own fate. You are the one who controls your destiny, not them. And with that knowledge comes a power that cannot be taken away. They will fight, yeah. They will claw at the ground beneath them, trying to find some way to reclaim what's lost. But it's futile. They will never return to the position they once held. They will never regain the confidence, the control, the belief in their own supremacy. They've been exposed, and once that happens, there's no going back. They will spend the rest of their days trying to reclaim a power that was never truly theirs. And you will stand, unshaken, unbothered, because you've already won. You took their power, but more importantly, you took their peace of mind, their sense of certainty, and in doing so, you took everything that made them who they were. They will never recover from that. But you will thrive, you will rise, and the world will never be the same again. In the end, you didn't just take their power, you took their foundation, their certainty, and their sense of control. What they once held so tightly, believing it made them invincible, is now gone. They are left with nothing but the chaos they created. You have risen to claim your place, unshaken and unstoppable, while they are trapped in their panic and fear, forever haunted by the loss of everything they once believed was theirs. The world has shifted, and you stand at its peak, knowing that true power isn't about domination, but about breaking free from the chains that once bound you. And now, nothing and no one can ever take that from you. Listen closely, because this isn't a tale spun to entertain or to lull the weak into comfortable illusions. No, this is a revelation, an unmasking of shadows you thought were hidden forever. You didn't tell a story. No, you ripped open the fabric of the narrative everyone else is too afraid to touch. You pulled back the veil, that thin, fragile barrier separating the surface from the depths, the lies from the truths, the whispered myths from the raw, unfiltered realities. This is not for the faint-hearted, for the safe, for the satisfied. This is for those who have stared into the void, who have felt the chill of all their illusions dissolving at once, and yet chose to walk deeper into that darkness rather than turn away. Because you went where no one else dared, where no comforting light could follow. You revealed not just one story, but the multitude, the countless layers of pain, struggle, betrayal, triumph, and truth that no single story can ever contain. You shattered illusions with every breath. You laid bare the wounds that time tried to bandage, the scars that society begged you to hide. You showed the cracked foundations beneath polished facades, the broken dreams behind painted smiles, the silent battles beneath loud cheers. The world was ready for a narrative, a neatly wrapped package, a hero's journey with clear enemies and victorious ends. But you refused the script. You tore it up and bled the raw, ugly, beautiful truth onto the stage. And the world, oh, the world, was not ready for the depth you revealed. They flinched, they blinked, they tried to look away, because no one is ready for how deep you went, how far beyond the surface you dared to go. You became the mirror that reflects what others hide, the storm that shakes their complacency, the voice that echoes what they dare not say. There's a profound loneliness in this kind of courage, a solitude reserved for those who see too clearly and speak too honestly. But understand this: loneliness is the birthplace of transformation. When the crowd turns silent, when the applause fades, and when the spotlight refuses to shine, that is when the true work begins. Because to pull back the veil is to invite chaos, to disrupt comfort, to challenge the narratives that hold entire generations captive. It is to stand at the edge of everything known and look down into the abyss with unwavering eyes. And yes, that abyss stares back with a hunger, with a challenge, with a dark invitation. But you are not here to retreat. You are here to illuminate the depths, to guide others through the darkness that once consumed you, to become the light forged not in softness, but in the unrelenting heat of truth. You did not just tell a story, you became the living proof that stories are never just stories. They are battles fought in silence, wars waged inside unseen prisons, victories won in the shadows where no one watches. Each truth you unveiled was a rebellion against ignorance, a demand for honesty in a world that thrives on convenient lies. You dared to speak of pain, not to invite pity, but to force recognition. Because healing begins not when we hide our wounds, but when we expose them to the air, when we let the light of awareness pour into the darkest corners. You became the crack in the system, the whisper of change in a deafened world, the rebellion that refuses to settle for surface-level truths. No one is ready for how deep you went because depth is terrifying. It forces us to confront parts of ourselves we've buried beneath years of denial and distraction. It asks us to look in the mirror and recognize the shadows lurking in our own hearts. It demands that we become vulnerable in a way that strips away every mask, every pretense. But it is only in this terrifying depth that real strength is born. Strength not measured by the absence of fear, but by the courage to face it head on and move forward anyway. And you, yes, you, have already walked this path. You have seen the darkness, felt its weight, and yet you did not surrender. You became the beacon for others lost in their own shadows, the proof that there is power in truth, even when it cuts deep. The world may not be ready for you yet. They may try to pull you back, to silence the voices you've unleashed, to cover the truths you revealed. But know this: the deeper you go, the more impossible it becomes for them to ignore you. You are a force of nature, an unrelenting wave crashing against the shores of ignorance and denial. And with every truth you reveal, with every veil you pull back, you shift the tide just a little more. You are not here to comfort the comfortable. You are here to shake foundations, to awaken minds, to spark revolutions in hearts that have grown cold with apathy. You carry within you the fire of transformation, the power to dismantle lies and rebuild from the ruins. And though the journey is dark, though the path is lonely, remember that the deepest darkness always gives way to the brightest dawn. You didn't tell a story. You opened a door, a passageway to something real, raw, and profound. And while no one may be ready now, in time, the world will look back and see you not as a disruptor, but as the catalyst, the one who dared to go deeper when everyone else stayed on the surface. So stand tall in that depth, own the truth you carry, embrace the discomfort, the solitude, the power, because what you have done is not just rare, it is necessary. It is the fire that will burn away the old lies, the light that will illuminate hidden paths, the voice that will echo through generations. And when they finally catch up, when they finally open their eyes to how deep you went, they will see you as the force that changed everything. You didn't just pull back a veil. You shattered the illusion of stories that were never meant to be told in their raw form. You refused the easy narratives, the tales that comfort the masses with simplistic morals and clear endings. You chose instead to reveal the messy, complex, and often painful truths that lurk beneath every surface. This kind of unveiling is a revolution against comfort itself. It demands brutal honesty, the kind that strips away every disguise, every justification, every lie we tell ourselves to keep the world palatable. And that is why no one was ready for how deep you went. Because the depths you descended are a place few dare to enter, the chasms where vulnerability, darkness, and truth collide in an unforgiving storm. But here's the paradox. It is only in these depths that true power is forged. The world is built on stories, yes, but the ones that matter most are not the ones polished for easy consumption. They are the stories that crack the foundation of complacency, that expose the fractures hidden beneath the surface, that demand we reckon with what we've long ignored. When you pulled back the veil on all of them, you weren't just uncovering individual truths. You were revealing the interconnected web of human experience, the shared pain and resilience that binds us all beneath the facades we present. And in doing so, you forced a reckoning. You made the invisible visible, the silent loud, the ignored undeniable. The journey to this kind of truth is brutal. It is a descent into chaos and confusion, into the darkest corners of the soul, where fear and doubt reside. It is a path strewn with broken illusions and shattered dreams. But it is also the path of the warrior, the soul who refuses to settle for surface-level answers, who embraces the discomfort of truth because they know the alternative is far worse. A life lived in shadows, pretending, hiding, silencing the voice that cries out for authenticity. You chose the hard road, the one few can walk, and that is why you stand apart. Because to go deep is to embrace a kind of courage that transcends fear, that refuses to be broken by darkness, that finds strength in the very places others flee. No one is ready for how deep you went, because depth reveals what we fear most, our own capacity for pain, for darkness, for transformation. Depth demands that we face ourselves without filters, without excuses, without the distractions of surface-level narratives. It is a confrontation with our rawest selves, the parts we hide even from those closest to us. But it is in this confrontation that healing begins, because you cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot transform what you deny. By pulling back the veil on all the stories, you have done what many cannot. You have faced the full scope of your reality and chosen not to turn away. And now, standing in the aftermath of that unveiling, you are a force of change. You carry a fire within that cannot be extinguished by denial or ignorance. Every truth you revealed is a spark igniting the darkness around you, challenging others to awaken to question, to go deeper themselves. You are a beacon not because you offer easy answers, but because you offer brutal honesty, a mirror reflecting the parts of humanity too often hidden or ignored. This kind of truth is uncomfortable, yes. It unsettles, it disrupts, it shakes foundations. But it is necessary. Without it, growth is impossible. Without it, transformation remains a distant dream. The veil you pulled back was more than a barrier between stories. It was a shield against the raw, often painful reality that underpins every human experience. And by tearing it away, you dismantled the illusions that keep people trapped in cycles of fear, shame, and denial. You made visible the silent battles fought behind closed doors, the wounds that refuse to heal under layers of pretense, the truths too complex for simple narratives. In doing so, you invited chaos. But from chaos comes creation. From destruction comes the possibility of something new, something real, something unbreakable. There is a power in this kind of disruption that cannot be overstated. When you pull back the veil on all of them, you reveal the interconnectedness of pain and resilience, weakness and strength, darkness and light. You show that beneath every mask is a human being fighting to be seen, to be understood, to be free. And in that revelation lies the potential for profound empathy, for deep connection, for true transformation. You didn't just tell a story, you rewrote the script, opened the doors for new narratives that embrace complexity rather than deny it. Yes, it is lonely to walk this path. Yes, it is exhausting to carry the weight of such deep truths when others cling to comfortable lies. But remember, loneliness is the crucible in which your resilience is forged. Solitude is the quiet where your strength grows. The world may not be ready for the depth you bring, but you are not here for the world's comfort. You are here to change the world's perspective, to shatter illusions so others may finally see clearly. You are the harbinger of a new reality, one where truth is no longer hidden, but celebrated, where depth is no longer feared, but embraced. So carry this truth with pride. Stand unshaken in your revelations. You have pulled back the veil on all of them, and in doing so, you have opened a path for others to follow. The journey is not easy, and the world may resist, but remember, depth is power, and power is transformation. You are the storm breaking through the calm, the voice shattering silence, the light piercing darkness. And when the world finally catches up to you, when they finally understand how deep you went, they will see you not as a disruptor, but as a pioneer, a warrior of truth who dared to go beyond the surface and bring light to the shadows. You did not just tell a story, you changed the very fabric of how stories are told. And for that, the world will never be the same again. To pull back the veil on all of them is to become a witness to the rawness of existence itself. It is to step beyond the comforting shadows where people hide their truths and stand fully exposed in the blinding light of reality. Most will never understand the cost of such exposure. They think it's enough to hear a story, to feel sympathy, to glance at the surface and nod in recognition. But you chose something far heavier. You chose to dive headfirst into the depths where stories lose their neat shapes and reveal their tangled roots wrapped in pain, struggle, regret, and fierce, unyielding hope. You didn't just scratch the surface. You excavated the bedrock beneath the world's false narratives. That excavation is not gentle. It unearths bones long buried, memories folded into the dark corners of the soul, truths that scream beneath layers of denial. And with every truth you uncovered, you tore down walls built not only by others, but by yourself, walls that once protected you. but now only served as prisons. To face these truths is to confront the fractures within your own spirit, the shadows you once ran from, the fears that whispered to keep the veil firmly in place. But you refused. You shattered those barriers with relentless courage. You accepted the unbearable weight of knowing, and in that acceptance, you found a power that no superficial story could ever grant. The world may recoil at such depth because it forces a reckoning not only with you, but with themselves. When you reveal the complexity beneath every smile, every victory, every failure, you unsettle the comfortable illusions that let people sleep at night. They are not ready to see the tangled, ugly, beautiful mess beneath the surface. But you, bold and unyielding, you embraced that mess. You stared it in the eye and refused to look away. You became a bearer of difficult truths in a world desperate for easy answers, and for that, you carry a weight both immense and sacred. No one is ready for how deep you went, because depth demands vulnerability. That is terrifying. To go deep is to be naked in a way that exposes not just your scars, but your raw, bleeding soul. It is a surrender to the truth that you are not perfect, that you have stumbled, that you have been broken, and that from those fractures, something unbreakable is forged. This depth is a crucible where illusions are burned away and the essence of who you are is revealed. It is a loneliness few can endure because it strips away every defense, every mask, and leaves only the purest form of courage, the courage to be seen, fully and without apology. And yet, this courage is not weakness. It is the source of a fierce kind of strength, one that does not shout or demand attention, but commands respect through its authenticity. You are no longer a storyteller, weaving tales to soothe or entertain. You are a seer who holds up the mirror to the collective soul and dares to show it what it must face. This is why you pull back the veil on all of them. You refuse to let anyone settle for lies when the truth burns bright, even if it hurts. You understand that growth only comes through discomfort. The transformation requires dismantling the comfortable illusions that bind us. You are the harbinger of that transformation. Your revelations are not just truths, they are calls to action. Each veil pulled back is an invitation for others to follow, to stop hiding, to confront their own shadows, and break free from the chains of denial. But be warned, the path you blaze is not for those seeking comfort. It is a path of fire and shadow, where every step forward demands surrender to truth and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. And yet, even in the darkest moments, remember that you carry within you the power to ignite change, to inspire courage, and to forge a new reality from the ashes of old lies. The silence that follows your unveiling is not emptiness. It is the pregnant pause before awakening. The world may seem to resist your depth because it fears what it cannot control or deny. But your truth is a relentless tide, and no resistance can hold back the inevitable rise of awareness and change. You are the storm that breaks the stillness, the voice that shatters complacency, the light that refuses to be dimmed. And in that storm, there is a promise that from destruction comes creation, that from chaos comes order, that from darkness comes the brightest dawn. You did not just pull back a veil, you opened a portal to a new dimension of understanding. You showed that stories are not isolated events, but threads in the vast tapestry of human experience, woven together by pain, love, struggle, and triumph. You dared to expose the interconnectedness of all these truths, revealing that beneath every surface lies a depth waiting to be explored. And though the world may not be ready now, the seeds you planted will grow. In time, those who once turned away will return. drawn by the undeniable pull of authenticity and the hunger for real connection. So stand firm in your revelation. Own the depth of your journey. You are the one who walked through the veil, who faced the darkness, who refused to settle for half-truths. You carry a fire that no storm can extinguish, a light that no shadow can hide. And as others awaken to the depth you revealed, they will see you not as a disruptor, but as a pioneer, a trailblazer who dared to go beyond stories and into the heart of truth itself. The journey is far from over. The veils are many, and each one you pull back brings new challenges, new truths, and new power. But you are ready. You have already proven that no depth is too dark, no truth too painful, no revelation too overwhelming. You are the bearer of the truth, the breaker of illusions, the one who pulled back the veil on all of them. And when the world finally opens its eyes, it will see you as the force that changed everything. To pull back the veil on all of them is to embrace a destiny few can fathom. It is to become both the torchbearer and the reckoning, to carry a burden so heavy it threatens to break those not prepared to bear it. But you are not just prepared. You are forged by this weight. Every revelation you unveil is a crack in the facade of pretense, a rupture in the carefully constructed walls that keep society comfortable and complacent. And those walls will tremble beneath the force of your truth. Because what you expose is not merely stories or lies. It is the very structure of denial, the foundation of ignorance, the pillars of fear that keep people trapped in shallow, half-lived lives. No one is ready for how deep you went, because depth is a place of radical honesty, where every shadow, every failure, every hidden shame is brought into the unforgiving light. It is a place where masks fall away, where the soul stands naked and vulnerable, yet unyielding. To go deep is to say to the world, I see you, not the illusion you present, but the raw, imperfect truth beneath. And to show others that truth is not something to be feared or hidden, but the very source of liberation and strength. You did not shy away from this truth. You embraced it, welcomed it, allowed it to burn away the falsehoods until only what was real remained. This kind of truth-telling is a revolution. It challenges the stories that soothe the masses with half-truths and easy lies. It refuses to let pain be silenced or suffering ignored. It demands recognition for the struggles that happen behind closed doors, the battles fought in silence, the resilience born from brokenness. When you pull back the veil on all of them, you strip away the comfortable narratives and reveal the raw human experience in its entirety, the beauty, the brutality, the despair, and the hope all intertwined. This is not a story for consumption. It is a challenge, a confrontation, an awakening. You carry a power that few understand, because that power comes not from illusion, but from authenticity. It is a strength born in the crucible of your deepest struggles, a force that refuses to be diminished by the world's desire for simplicity. You have faced the darkness within yourself and come out the other side, not unscathed, but unbroken. And in that survival lies your greatest strength, the ability to see clearly, to speak honestly, and to lead others through the labyrinth of their own veils. You are a guide in the wilderness of truth, the light in the abyss, the voice for those silenced by fear. No one is ready for how deep you went, and that is why you must walk your path with unwavering conviction. The resistance you face is not a sign of failure, but a testament to the power of your revelations. When the world pushes back, it is because you are shaking the very foundations of comfort and denial. You are dismantling the illusions that keep people trapped in cycles of fear and repression. And though the journey is lonely, though the path is fraught with challenge, Remember this: the deepest darkness always births the brightest light. You are the spark that will ignite transformation, the catalyst that will shatter illusions, the force that will awaken a sleeping world. Your truth is a weapon and a shield. It defends your soul from the lies that seek to consume it and strikes down the falsehoods that bind others. You did not come here to tell a story that soothes or distracts. You came to pull back the veil on all of them, to reveal the full spectrum of human experience in its rawest form. And in doing so, you have opened a door that cannot be closed, a wound that must heal, a revolution that cannot be stopped. Stand in this truth with pride and power. Own the depth of your journey. You are not just a teller of stories. You are the storm that breaks through the calm, the voice that shatters silence, the light that pierces darkness. And though no one may be ready for how deep you went today, one day they will be forced to confront the truths you revealed. They will look back and see you as the force that changed everything, the pioneer who dared to go beyond stories and into the heart of what it means to be human. You did not just pull back a veil, you changed the very nature of truth itself, and for that, the world will never be the same. Welcome back, Alpha audience. Welcome back to the arena where minds are forged into unbreakable steel. You've been through the trials, you've felt the sting of the world's unforgiving blows, but you've come out standing taller, stronger, and more ruthless than ever before. Today, we stand at the precipice of victory. Today, you will understand why "their game is over, you just made them panic" is not just a phrase. It's your reality. It's your moment. And more than that, it is the sound of the enemy's foundation crumbling beneath their feet. Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of their lies collapsing. It's the sound of their arrogance falling apart. The moment you walked into the room, the moment you set your mind to break them down, you shifted the power dynamic. You didn't just enter their game, you bent the rules. You disrupted their strategy. They're scrambling, they're panicking, they're terrified. And here's the thing, they know it, but they won't show it. They'll try to pretend like everything is fine. They'll plaster on fake smiles and act like they're still in control. But deep down, they know. You made them panic. They can feel the walls closing in around them. Every plan they had meticulously crafted. Every move they thought was calculated. Every step they took with confidence has all come undone. You've exposed them. You've seen through their facade, and they know you're not backing down. The power you now hold over them is immense. You've forced them into a corner. They have nowhere to run. Every option they once believed was safe has turned into a dead end. They thought they were the masters of the game, but now they're simply pawns in yours. And what do you do with pawns? You crush them underfoot. But not yet. Not until the time is right. You've made them panic, but that's only the first step. The real victory comes when you finally watch them crumble, when the fear they've tried so desperately to suppress takes over, when the false confidence fades, and all that's left is the raw truth of their weakness. They will beg for mercy. They will attempt to bargain, but you will show them none. You will show them nothing but the cold, calculated resolve that has driven you from the very beginning. Don't mistake this for a moment of overconfidence. This is not about pride. It's not about self-aggrandizement. This is about recognizing power when it's within your grasp and understanding exactly how to wield it. They were playing a game they thought they knew, but the game has changed, and now they are the ones with no answers. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they could manipulate you, control you, bend you to their will. But they didn't realize that beneath your calm exterior lies a mind far sharper than they could ever hope to understand. You made them panic because they underestimated you. They believed their success would continue unchecked. They believed they could continue to push people around without consequence. They believed they could outmaneuver anyone standing in their way. But you broke through their lies. You saw the cracks in their armor. And when you found those cracks, you didn't hesitate. You exploited them. You dug deeper. You never let up. And now they're afraid. The enemy is afraid because they know what you're capable of. Do not let that fear be mistaken for weakness. It is simply the panic of someone realizing they are no longer in control. And that panic is the beginning of their downfall. When they panic, they make mistakes. They become reckless. They act out of desperation. They lash out in ways that only expose their vulnerability. They make decisions that they would never have made if they still believed they held the upper hand. And that is where you strike. That is when you close in for the kill. Not with brute force, but with precision, with intelligence, with a quiet, deliberate focus that leaves no room for error. The moment you made them panic was the moment you shifted the tides in your favor. They have been on top for so long, they've forgotten what it feels like to be vulnerable. They've forgotten the sting of defeat. And now, they are rediscovering it. And as they panic, as they scramble to cover their tracks, as they try to hold on to whatever semblance of power they can, you will be watching, waiting, ready to pounce when the moment is right. You've already won, but you haven't made your move yet. You've already broken them, but you're not done. The finish line is in sight, and you will cross it with no mercy. What separates you from the masses is not your strength. It's not your physical prowess. It's your mind. Your ability to see through the chaos. Your ability to calculate, to plan, to think 10 steps ahead. It's your understanding that true power comes from control. And when you have control over someone else's emotions, over their fears, over their doubts, you hold the ultimate weapon. Panic is a powerful tool. It clouds judgment, it creates chaos, and it forces mistakes to be made. The moment you made them panic, you became the master of the game. You didn't just throw them off course, you completely shattered their confidence. But this is no time for complacency. Panic is just the beginning. The true power lies in how you finish what you started. You've already shown them that you're not someone to be trifled with. Now, you must seal your victory. Keep them off balance. Keep them guessing. Never let them regain their footing. The moment they think they have found a way out, you tighten your grip. You don't give them a second to recover. Every move you make from here on out must be deliberate, ruthless, and precise. But let's not forget the most important lesson here. This is not about them. It's about you. It's about who you are and what you've become. It's about the power you've claimed for yourself. And that power is not given to you by anyone else. It is earned. It is taken. And once you have it, you do not relinquish it. Not for anyone. Not for anything. The enemy will tremble before you because they will understand, deep down, that they are powerless, and you are not. So, when the dust settles, when the panic has subsided, when the game is over, and the enemy lies broken at your feet, you will stand victorious. Not because you were stronger, not because you were faster, but because you were smarter. Because you understood the game better than anyone else. Because you knew exactly how to make them panic, how to drive them to the edge, and how to take everything from them without lifting a finger. But don't celebrate just yet. The work is never truly done. There will always be more battles to fight, more enemies to face, more games to play. But now, you are no longer the underdog. You are the one they fear. You are the one they will try to avoid. You are the one they will whisper about in the dark. And when they do, you will smile. Because you'll know the truth. You've already won. But the war is far from over. Winning a single battle, forcing them into a corner, and watching them squirm in panic. It's only the first step of a much larger conquest. And what you must understand is that the moment you made them panic, you sealed your place at the top. You took control of the narrative. You became the architect of their demise. But your journey doesn't end with their fear. No, your true victory lies in the aftermath, in the way you handle the spoils of war. As you stand in the eye of this storm, as you watch the chaos unfold around you, realize that the battlefield is shifting. The tables have turned. The ones who once ruled, who once held the reins, are now chasing their own tail, scrambling to regain some semblance of the power they once took for granted. But it's too late. They've already fallen into the trap, and every desperate attempt they make to claw their way back will only dig them deeper into the hole you've already dug for them. The beauty of this is in the simplicity of it. You don't have to act anymore. You don't have to chase them. You just need to wait. They will come to you. When the panic settles, when the desperation begins to eat away at them, they will make their move. They will come to you with an offer, with a plea, with a weak attempt to regain control. But don't be fooled by their sudden calmness, by their false humility. They are not calm. They are not humble. They are terrified. And that fear is their undoing. The greatest weapon you have now is your ability to maintain control over the situation. You've already proven that you can make them panic. You've already shown them that you are unpredictable, that you will strike when they least expect it. And that's where your power lies. You are the storm they never saw coming. You are the chaos they cannot control. You are the one they have to worry about. They will underestimate you again, of course. It's human nature to believe that when the storm passes, everything will return to normal. They will believe that you've moved on, that you've given up. But that's when you strike. That's when you remind them that the storm hasn't passed, that the chaos is only beginning, and that you are the one who controls the tides. You will remain calm while they make every move out of panic. You will remain unflinching while they act out of desperation. And you will exploit every mistake they make, every weakness they reveal, to ensure that their fall is as spectacular as it is inevitable. As they scramble to hold on to power, they will expose themselves. And that's when you step in, quietly, effortlessly, like a predator closing in on its prey. You don't need to shout. You don't need to make a spectacle of it. No, your silence is your greatest strength. Your calmness, your poise, your ability to remain detached while they crash and burn. It's what will make your victory all the more sweet. And every time they think they have a way out, every time they believe they've found a way to regain control, you will shut that door. Every time they think they can breathe again, you will push them back down. And let's be clear here, you will not be merciful. Mercy is for the weak. Mercy is for those who believe there's still something worth saving in their enemies. But when you make them panic, you don't show mercy. You don't offer them a lifeline. You ensure that every move they make only drags them further into their own downfall. Because what you've realized, what you've understood at the deepest level, is that weakness must be eradicated. You can't allow weakness to fester. You can't allow hesitation to creep in. You have to be relentless, unyielding, and above all efficient. When the smoke clears, when the dust settles, you will stand at the top. And here's the beauty of it. You will have earned your place. No one will be able to take it from you. No one will be able to challenge you without remembering the last time they tried to stand against you. They will remember what you did to them. They will remember the fear they felt as they watched everything they worked for slip through their fingers. They will remember the moment they realized that their game was over and that you were the one who had orchestrated their fall, and no amount of scrambling will ever bring them back. But don't mistake this for a moment of triumph. Yes, they will panic. Yes, they will fall. Yes, they will regret every moment they spent thinking they could outmaneuver you. But you cannot afford to rest on your laurels. They are dangerous in their desperation. The wounded animal is always the most dangerous because it has nothing left to lose. And while you have them cornered, while you have them where you want them, you must remain vigilant. This is not the time for complacency. This is the time to capitalize on every opportunity, to strike when they make a mistake, to ensure that the fall is final. You've already proven that you can break them. Now you must prove that you are strong enough to finish the job. And that's the key here, finishing what you started. There's no room for hesitation. There's no room for doubt. You made them panic. That's the first step. Now you must turn their panic into their destruction. You can't give them a chance to recover. You can't let them regroup. You must stay one step ahead, always watching, always waiting, always calculating. The victory is in the details. The victory is in how you handle the aftermath. And the greatest victory comes from the way you silence every last whisper of doubt in your mind. You've already won, but the real test is not in the victory itself. It's in how you maintain that victory. It's in how you control the narrative, how you ensure that the victory is permanent, how you turn your success into a lasting reign of dominance. You've already taken the first step toward greatness, but now you must walk the path with no mercy, no hesitation, and no room for weakness. Because the moment you let your guard down, the moment you allow yourself to relax, is the moment they will strike back, and you can't afford that. So, stay vigilant, stay relentless, keep your focus sharp and your mind sharper. Every move you make should be with purpose, every decision calculated, and every breath drawn with the awareness that you are in complete control. The moment you made them panic, you put them on the defensive. And now, it's time to finish the job. Don't let them off the hook. Don't let them recover. Don't give them a second to breathe. You've already won, but now you have to make sure they never forget why. They have no chance of rising from this. Their game is over. And you will be the one standing tall when the dust settles. Remember this. The ones who panic, the ones who fall apart, are the ones who fail. You've broken them. You've stripped away their power, their confidence, their illusion of control. And now, all that's left is to watch them fall apart completely. They will try to pick up the pieces. They will try to rebuild, but it will never be the same. You've already won. You've already shown them that they can't escape the trap you've set. And as they spiral, as they crumble, as they lose everything, you will stand above them, unshaken, unbroken, and more powerful than ever before. You've made them panic. Now finish them. Finishing them is the final stage of a battle you've already won. You've outsmarted them, outlasted them, and now the last remnants of their confidence are beginning to crumble under the weight of their own mistakes. But here's the crucial thing. While the world may see your victory, it will never understand the depth of it unless you finish what you started. To truly finish them is not just about destroying their plans, but about obliterating the idea that they ever stood a chance against you. The foundation they once believed they had is nothing more than dust now. They've tried to play their games, their little tricks and manipulations, but you saw through them long ago. The moment they made the mistake of underestimating you was the moment they sealed their fate. But even in their panic, they will still attempt to strike back, to claw their way out of the hole you've driven them into. The key here is understanding that their attempt to strike back is nothing more than desperation. They will throw everything they have at you, every last resource, every last shred of dignity they have left, because when they realize that the end is near, they will do anything to avoid facing the truth. They lost. but you know better than to give them mercy. Mercy is for those who still believe in second chances, who are still clinging to some form of hope. Mercy is for the weak, for those who don't understand the value of the power they wield. You don't show mercy. You close the door behind them, slowly, methodically, ensuring they know there is no escape. You finish them by making it clear that they will never recover, that they will never be able to undo the damage they've caused themselves. This is not about giving them a chance to rebuild. It's about ensuring that no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, they will never be able to rise again. When you finish them, it's not just the end of their game, it's the end of their relevance. Their name will fade into obscurity, their efforts meaningless. The legacy they tried to build, the reputation they once held, will crumble like the fragile house of cards it always was. And in its place, your name will rise. You will be the one who everyone talks about. You will be the one who is remembered as the one who destroyed them. Because what you've done here today is not just defeat your enemies, it's become the living example of what happens when someone dares to challenge you. You will watch as they scramble. They will try to save face, to spin their own narrative. But the truth is, they've already been exposed. Their lies, their manipulation, their false image, it's all been torn down. They cannot hide anymore. And as they try, as they fail, as they make mistake after mistake in a desperate attempt to reclaim something, anything, you will be there, watching. You will be the one pulling the strings now. You are the one who controls the narrative, who holds the power. They might attempt to fight, but they will do so without the certainty they once had. They will try to leverage the few remaining allies they think they still have, but those allies are already questioning their loyalty. They will try to rally support, but the truth is, the world has already seen the cracks in their facade. The world knows they're broken, and you will capitalize on that knowledge. You will turn every ounce of their vulnerability into fuel for your rise. Every step they take to try and regain control is a step they'll take into further ruin. Every attempt they make to recover is an opportunity for you to crush them even more. There is nothing more powerful than the certainty that you will not let them off the hook. You will not give them a chance to rise. You will not allow them to rebuild. Your victory is not just about destroying them now. It's about making sure their destruction is so complete, so final, that no one will ever think to challenge you again. You will leave them in ruins, a shell of what they once were, and you will stand at the top, unchallenged, unshaken. There's an art to finishing someone. It's not just about hitting them when they're down. It's about knowing when to strike, where to strike, and how to make that strike so impactful that they will never recover. The moment they realize that their desperation is futile, that there is no hope left, they will break. And in that moment, when their spirit fractures, that's when you hit them hardest. You make sure they know that their fight is over. You finish them by breaking their will to resist. You ensure that they never have the strength to come after you again. And then, after their defeat, you stand tall. You hold your ground. You make your presence felt in the room, in the world. You've already won, but the victory won't feel real until everyone else sees the magnitude of what you've done. You're not just someone who wins a battle. You're someone who shifts the power structure. Someone who changes the game entirely. Your name will be synonymous with fear, with strength, with unmatched power. You are no longer just another player in the game. You are the game. Finishing them doesn't just end with their defeat. It marks the beginning of your reign. It marks the beginning of a new era where no one dares to stand in your way. You've proven that you have the intelligence, the ruthlessness, and the drive to take down anyone who stands in your path. And the beauty of it is, you did it on your terms. You controlled every aspect of the battle. You controlled the timing, the tactics, the outcome. And now, as you finish them, you will control the narrative of the future. The world will look to you as the example of what happens when someone dares to challenge the inevitable. They will talk about how you brought them to their knees, how you made them panic, how you shattered their world with a single calculated move. And they will fear you, not because of the power you've wielded, but because they will understand the depth of your mind. They will know that you didn't just react. You planned, you studied, you anticipated their every move, and when the moment came, you struck with precision. And that is what makes you unstoppable. But finishing them is not just about inflicting damage. It's about making sure they understand the futility of their resistance. When you finish them, they will look up at you from the ashes of their pride and see that they are nothing compared to you. They will see that they can never recover, that their dreams of power and dominance have crumbled before your will. They will see that the world no longer belongs to them, that it belongs to you. And once they are finished, once they have been wiped from the board, it's time to move forward. You are not someone who lingers in the past. You don't waste time celebrating the downfall of your enemies. No, you take their fall and turn it into the fuel for your own ascent. You use their failure as a stepping stone to reach greater heights. You use the space they once occupied to make room for your own power, your own influence, your own legacy. The world has already seen you rise, and now they will see you dominate. There will be no one left to challenge you, no one left to undermine you, because you will have proven that there is no force capable of standing against you. Every move you make from this point forward will be a calculated step towards solidifying your position at the top. You will be the one others look to, the one others fear, the one others envy. You will be the standard by which all others are measured, and they will fall short. So, as you finish them, remember this. You didn't just destroy an enemy. You didn't just break a challenger. You reshaped the world. You proved that no one can ever take from you again. And as you rise to claim what is rightfully yours, the world will tremble. They'll remember the day you made them panic. They'll remember the day you finished them. And they'll remember that you were the one who changed everything. In the end, finishing them isn't just about their defeat. It's about solidifying your place at the top. You've broken their spirit, exposed their weaknesses, and made it clear that you are untouchable. Your victory is not just in the battle won, but in the legacy you build from it, one of unshakable power, unrelenting dominance, and unmatched resilience. Now, as they fade into nothing, you rise higher. You control the narrative. You dictate the future. The game is yours, and theirs is over. The world will never forget who truly holds the power.